Okay, it should be recording. Do folks see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so it's 7:08 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the February 1st, 2022 meeting to order. Happy Lunar Year of the Tiger to everyone, and happy 2022. It's our first meeting, and that's the last time I'll be saying that till next year. So we are called to order at 7:08 p.m. and determination of quorum. So we'll just go through the list as listed on the agenda for everyone to introduce themselves, just your name and your office, and we'll start with the mayoral appointees. I don't see Henny yet, so I'm next. Glenn Bailey, mayoral appointee. Karen is next.
I'm Karen Kennedy, mayoral appointee.
Eli.
Hi, Eli Kaufman, mayoral appointee.
Thank you. CD1. You're muted. Jennifer, you're muted.
Yeah, CD1 vice chair,
Okay.
Jennifer Gill, sorry.
Thank you. CD2 is Ron Myers resigned, so CD2 at this moment is vacant. CD3, Janice.
Janice Hattelstad, appointed by Councilmember Bob Blumenfield, CD3.
Thank you. CD4, Tyler couldn't be here tonight, so we'll go ahead. We'll finish up with the regulars and we'll go back to the office. CD5.
I'm Taylor Nichols. I'm CD5. That's it.
Okay. CD6, I don't see Carino yet. CD7, John.
Pat Lowy, CD7.
Thank you. CD8, I don't see Aubrey.
Glenn,
CD9.
CD4 was Curtis.
Yeah, we're going to get to him. I'm going in agenda order. The
I'm
order
sorry.
that they're on the agenda. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Just so that doesn't get confused and I don't miss any. Let's see, where was I now? I think I was CD9 Ade. I don't see here.
Yeah, I sent him.
CD10 is vacant at this time. CD11, Kent.
Yeah, Kent Struppel, CD11. Guess that's all.
Yeah. And one thing's for sure, there'll be a new council member in December.
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, CD12, Mike.
CD12, Mike Kaiser, or Mike Kaiser, CD12.
Okay, and that's John Lee. District, CD13, Philip, and go ahead.
Yes, hi, Philip Armstrong, getting over COVID, and I'm representing CD13, which is Mitchell Farrell.
Okay, thanks. We're going to hear more from Philip in just a minute. CD14 is presently vacant. CD15, John Jones. I don't see him. Okay, the alternates. CD4, Curtis.
Curtis Graham, alternate.
Okay, and so Curtis will be seated as a voting member because Tyler's absent. CD5, Michael.
Michael Schneider, CD5 alternate, Paul Koretz.
Thank you. And CD11, Rob.
Rob Cadota, CD11.
Okay, thank you. All right, so thanks everyone. So we do have a quorum, as I mentioned. So we do have a new appointee since our last meeting. And so I'd like to welcome the Council District 13, Mitchell Farrell's appointee, Philip Armstrong, and our paths have crossed in wearing a different hat, which is the neighbor council hats. So Philip, if you'd like to take a few minutes and just introduce yourself to everyone who may not know you, and both bicycle and anything else you do. And neighborhood councils are relevant because a lot of what happens out there with the various departments, can either be moved forward or stopped by neighborhood councils. So if you let folks know what your involvement is there. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, Philip Armstrong, and I live in Rampart Village, and I'm the president of the Rampart Village Neighborhood Council, also the chair of the Rampart Village Neighborhood Council, Public Safety, Housing and Transportation Committee. And there I got involved with the community pedestrian and bicycle safety training workshop and Safe Routes to School program for the Frank Delamo Elementary School, Commonwealth Avenue Elementary School, and the Lafayette Park Primary Center. And other than that, I enjoy using my bike previously for commuting to work, and now for just commuting for shopping and civic engagement in the community. So that's my story, and I'm leaving it at that.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. So I've heard Philip speak at neighbor council meetings on subjects that I hope you don't mind, Philip, related to his previous professional career with regards to surveys. We're not going to talk about those tonight, but in terms of possible someone who could bring expertise in that area, I just want you all to be aware of that. And maybe if you want to be on an agenda for a future meeting, or possibly for the Advocacy and Education Committee, you could maybe give folks an idea of the types of things that if they ever did want to do survey type efforts.
Oh, well, obviously I've worked on the point in time counts, which is the kind of survey, and also the background of those with the I guess it's USC that does the data analysis for those. Also the youth point in time count. And I was the, if you've ever heard of the LA Promise Zone, I was the data and research associate for the LA Promise Zone for several years. And as far as surveys, I took statistics in graduate school, not as my primary focus was on urban planning, but I also studied urban demographics. And I have, if you're familiar with the neighborhood council system at all, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment has been doing surveys of community engagement and awareness of the neighborhood council system. And I was quite interested in what data they were gathering and how they were processing it and how they were then communicating that data. And in other words, like what exactly were the questions that they were asking, and were those the questions that would be the most relevant to the neighborhood councils, who are the the beneficiaries of this survey. And I think there's a lot that could be said about designing surveys and so forth to be useful. And I'm sure many of you have crossed some of those challenges.
Well, I was impressed by your analysis, and that's why I just wanted to mention, and folks keep that in mind, in the future or whatever. But I was impressed by it. So anyway, thank you and welcome. And we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, number 2, approval of minutes from the last meeting, which was December 7th, 2021. Kent?
They were emailed out to all of you. So I make a motion for approval unless there's any corrections.
Let's see if we get a second, and then second from anyone. Taylor? Okay. Saw Taylor's hand first on the screen. Any additions or corrections? Any comments from public or members? So if you're on the phone, you want to raise your hand, it's *9, and to unmute it's *6, or to mute it's *6. If you're on the Zoom, then you use the under reactions, assuming you have the latest version of Zoom, which, by the way, last I saw, they just upgraded, I think the week before last, to 5.9.1. So if you haven't upgraded, check that out, 5.9.1. John, I see your hand. John Lowry. You're muted.
I'm just approving the minutes.
Oh, okay. I was about to call the vote. So
Okay.
let's, anyone opposed to approving the minutes, say no. Raise your hand, get my attention. Anyone abstaining? Okay, everyone in favor, just wave your hand, say aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
that looks like unanimous. So let's see, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm getting 10. Kent, is that what you have for voting?
Yeah,
Okay, 10-0-0, it passes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my intention was to abstain because I did not specifically review the minutes.
Okay, all right, we're gonna change that to 9-0-1 abstention. Okay, thank you. Okay, so number 3 is approve a chair or co-chairs the Advocacy and Education Committee. As you know, Ron Myers resigned from the BAC and from it being chair of the committee. We used to have co-chairs, but that changed over time with just most recently the chair. I did put a note on the agenda to say, note the eligibility of alternates to serve as subcommittee chair or co-chair is subject to a determination by the Office of City Attorney, who I've requested to be in touch with, but I haven't received that communication yet. So, you know, we don't have, but we're not allowed to have bylaws. We were agreed that we would work on standing rules. I don't know that standing rules would address this because bylaws usually set up the criteria for votes and that. So all we have is the council motion that set up alternates. And, you know, we have alternates on the committee, so I don't see why alternates couldn't be chair or vice chair or co-chairs. But I just want to disclose that it could be the city attorney may weigh in on that. So we do need to move forward with this committee. So I'd like to move forward with a conversation about who might be interested in being chair or co-chairs, you know, be 2 co-chairs. I also don't see, since we don't have a rule against it, why we couldn't have one of those 2 options plus a vice chair or co-vice chairs for that matter, although we've never done that before. So now so Ron was obviously no longer, he's not here. I know a few of you have been active with the committee. We have some BAC members who were co-chairs in the past. I'm thinking of Aubrey, for example, but he's not here tonight. So if anyone wanted to comment on, well, let me just, in general, just say, you know, it's kind of loose. The committee that we have a planning committee that deals with the city's plans, mobility plan, community plans, all those sorts of things. And then we have our bikeways engineering, which is when LADOT, back before COVID, they would bring in like what used to be called blueprints, and they would give us widths and turning radiuses and all that sort of stuff, very detailed, that we would look at and make comments. So anything else that's in the advocacy or education arena is what could be under this committee. So we have had several council files, some of which are on your agenda, but you've also heard reports in the last several meetings about some of the ideas for that the Advocacy and Education Committee has brought up, and I listed a few of those on the agenda based on their last agenda. But it is a mixture. So if we're looking at education classes for folks like we do for traffic classes for drivers, I mean, that's a council file. So the committee could work on things like that were of that nature, or they can work on outreach, the website, social media. And I'm going to stop talking and let folks who have actually attended those meetings, like Jennifer. And even though you see my name there, I'm usually on another meeting that night. Jennifer, do you want to chime in, or Rob, or whoever just briefly kind of give an overview of what the committee does or has done?
We did discuss how we were going to deal with outreach, and Rob Cadota has a lot of really great ideas that I thought we might approve, but then you said we didn't need to. I'm not sure what that story was, but maybe Rob, you should talk about what you have in mind, and then Eli also, we were talking with Curtis and Eli about the Operation Firefly. And then the co-chair position is pretty much, Henny did the notes. I haven't seen her notes. So I asked her if she's coming. We'll see if she comes. That's what I know.
Okay, so I just want to kind of give an overview of the committee. We'll talk about the actual committee details.
Oh, sorry.
During the meeting. I just want to give an overview so that the people wanted to possibly be interested in one of the positions, leadership positions with the committee, who maybe possibly haven't been involved for the past number of meetings, had a better sense of what they're getting themselves into. Okay, so but yes, we'll go into detail of about the last committee, because that's on the agenda as a committee report. So Rob, did you want to chime in?
Oh, I think part of it is making sure that committee members have basic information about form and function of what we do, and basic overview of city resources, programs, and projects. I know I sent Philip a kind of committee reference manual to kind of bring him up to speed, and actually to bring myself up to speed. And I'll put that in the chat, or I'll load it in the chat. I think part of it would be to also make sure that all committee members have a set of electric and physical tools to do outreach around safety and education advocacy. I think bikeways and engineering is a whole very technical area, but maybe we can just give the Education Advocacy Committee might be able to at least frame some of that work about what are some of the guiding principles. So it's really making sure people have the knowledge and information that they need to move forward.
Okay, thank you. So mostly there's other hands. I would like to just see how many folks might be interested in co-chairing this committee. And if you don't want to co-chair, but you're interested in being a vice chair, we can have that conversation as well. So, and I had heard that Henny was interested, and I don't know, Jennifer, if you can confirm that or not, or if anyone can confirm that.
I did have an
I'll
email.
text her that question right now. She said texting is the best way to get her. So somewhere I'm really surprised she's not here. So
Okay, I just need to know if anyone has. Rob, did you have an answer?
Yeah, I think she expressed some willingness to be a co-chair.
Okay, and she's been helping out quite a while with the committee, off and on, between her other commitments. So, okay, let's see if there's others who would be interested in being co-chair. Rob, you're interested?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone interested in being vice chair? Okay, so for both, going once, going twice. Okay, so with the proviso of what the city attorney may advise, because the only thing we have is 2 motions passed by city council over a span of, over a decade apart, then I think we could entertain a motion to approve Henny and Rob as co-chairs of the Advocacy and Education Committee. Someone like to make that motion?
I so move, John Lowry.
I'll second.
Who seconded?
Karen.
Karen, thank you. Discussion? Okay. Let's go ahead for a vote. I did see Michael's comment in chat. Just note that we are a Brown acted entity, and all Brown acted entities under the state law must do some sort of indication of a vote. And that includes, you can't do it by process elimination. It has to be something affirmative, and that city attorney has ruled on that. So I'm just trying to keep us somewhat in compliance, even though actually city attorney says you have to roll call. But until someone calls me on that, I'm not going to do that for everything. Okay. So is there anyone opposed to appointing Henny and Rob as co-chairs of the Advocacy and Education? Anyone? No? Are there any abstentions? Okay. All those in favor, just raise your hand, say aye. Just hold it up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. How did I get 11? Did I miscount? Okay. Well, I'll go with 10, say that I miscounted. All right, that's approved. Ken, I'm going to go with 10 until you tell me otherwise, okay?
I'm not counting. So if you want to
Well,
check your
I
count.
got 11.
Okay, well, we're probably 11.
John Lowy came in later.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
After the minutes then, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So that passes 11:00.
Correct. Correct. Okay. The next item is our committee memberships. And I know I had deferred this at the last meeting and we ran late and we didn't get back to it. So we just need to get this taken care of, especially since we've got new leadership for advocacy and education. So I'm going to start with advocacy and education because that's one I definitely want to be sure that the committee chairs, co-chairs can start running with. So this is the list from the most recent list. Can somebody?
Maybe.
So if you're here, just confirm that you still want to be on the committee. We're allowed to have up to 9 members, voting members and alternates on each committee. So Henny, since she's co-chair, she has to be on the committee. Skipping over myself. Karen, you're down as being on the committee.
Yes.
Okay. Eli, you're not.
Yeah, I can, put me on for now. Let's put me on for that one.
Okay. You want to see how many we have and okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer, you're not. Okay. You're muted.
Glenn, I'm not sure. I always attend, but I do vote, I guess. I'm not sure. Is that what you're talking about? If I'm not, then I
No,
don't
right
vote.
now on the roster of the committee, you're not a member and we're going through the roster and we're going to have a motion to approve the membership. So if you're not a member, you can't vote.
Yeah.
So just so you know, right now, you're not listed as a member. Did you want to be a member?
I know. I just
Huh?
want to make sure it runs, that's all, you know.
I appreciate
I
that.
might not have to, you know.
Okay, so
Glenn, does this need to be in the minutes?
it will be at the end, yes.
So do you
okay.
want me to make a note of every call you're making?
No, wait till the end, till we get our 9, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Janice, you're not down as a member. That's okay? Yes? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. CD4, I don't have either Tyler or Curtis as either, so Curtis, Tyler's not here.
I don't want to volunteer Tyler for something.
No, yourself.
And as far as myself,
I'm so new to the BAC that I'm trying to figure out what each committee does. So I've been attending meetings, but I haven't found a home yet. It's just, I'm too new.
Okay,
Can I make a remark? Because I know we've talked, Curtis and I have talked, and he's kind of both should be on both, because he's interested in the lights. And also, he's interested in the maintenance of the bikeways. And I'm really interested in having backup on that, because we haven't had much of that. So could he be on both?
Just don't let my curiosities encourage you too far. I think this is something that's in process,
okay.
but I
So
but I
Jennifer,
will be participating.
Okay, you're welcome to. Jennifer, yeah, you can take that offline with him. Taylor, you're not a member. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay. I'm on the planning and bikeways.
Yep. Carino is down as a member. I don't see him on here. So he has been participating, right, Jennifer?
Yes, he's the one who's working on he designed the promotion.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm just
he'll-
right now we're just figuring out the memberships. So as long as he's participating.
Well,
Okay.
you asked if he was on or not on. I didn't quite hear that.
No, I'm saying he is the most recent list. He is a member, and I'm
Okay.
just confirming he's still participating. You said yes, he is. Right.
He may leave, you know.
I understand. Well, okay. Okay. See, John, CD7, John, you're not currently on the committee.
That's right. I'm on the other committee. I just assume Stan.
Right.
The other
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay. CD8, I have Aubrey on as a member. Okay. Yeah. CD9, I have Ade on as a member. See, participate.
He hasn't been recently. I'm gonna call him and see what's going on.
Okay, so I'm inclined to, I'll put a parentheses. We'll see what the numbers look like when we finish this. CD10, Abe is off. Abe was the former CD10 appointee. Sorry, I've got two different lists here, so if I skip over anyone, I apologize. Just speak up. Okay. Okay, so then CD11, Kent, you're not on.
Nope.
Okay. CD12, Mike Kaiser, you are on. Correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. CD13, so Phil, you're new. But if what we talked about for advocacy and education was something of interest, we can put you on.
Is there anywhere a description of what the three committees do? Because I looked on the reference manual and I didn't see it there.
I don't know, but that's one reason on advocacy and education, I wanted to, verbally put stuff out there.
Okay.
Just real quickly, Phil, the best way to find out is to attend meetings for each of the committees and see what goes on. That'd give you a really good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Or look at past agendas.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was a mission statement that the committee had done. So maybe someone could send that. I'm not sure. I hope that's not in Ron's hands only.
Yeah,
So-
the mission statement I saw is just for the Bicycle Advisory Committee as a whole.
Okay. Well, I thought the committee had worked out something as well, but okay, so you're deferring at this time, Phil?
I would just like to know more about what the different committees do.
Okay. CD14 vacant. CD15 is John Jones, so he's absent. CD4, let's see.
He said, Glenn, he said he won't be here tonight. I just got his text, and he said that he wanted to be on that committee he attended it the last time.
John Jones?
Yeah.
Okay. But so let's see where we sit with the members. Hold on. So we have 7 with Ade, it's 8. So we have room for one more. So I'm going to go to alternate. So Curtis, sorry, Curtis, I didn't. What did you say? I know we talked about.
I'm a currently no commitment, but I'm attending both groups.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, just didn't want to miss you. And then Michael Schneider, you're not a member now. That's good.
That's good.
Okay, thanks. And then Rob is going to be a member because he's co-chair. So, okay, that makes our 9.
Glenn, can you quickly read off the names?
I will. Now, so Ade is, I put parentheses there.
Yeah.
It's partly, he's currently a member, so I don't want to take him off without somebody saying, he's not interested or whatever. But if he doesn't participate, I mean, that I'll kind of defer to the co-chairs because you may say, hey, we don't have someone on who's not participating, and maybe there's somebody who wants to join, take that place. So I'm going to go ahead and now read the members, okay?
Slowly so I can take notes.
Okay, his first name's all right?
Yep.
Okay, Henny, who's co-chair. Karen. Eli. Carino.
Okay.
Aubrey.
Okay.
Audie. Mike. Kaiser. We have 2 Michaels. John Jones, the second.
Okay.
And Rob.
Glenn, before you go on to the other subcommittees, I wonder if there's a quicker way to get through this rather than asking each person individually. Maybe they could just raise their hands, or you could start by acknowledging the existing members. And it seems pretty time consuming. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Well, I want to get this done, and we deferred this from 2 months ago. So
yeah, I just wonder if there's a quicker way.
I don't know. Let's finish up with this one. So we have those. I want to just do a motion for advocacy and education, so it doesn't all get confused. So let's have a motion to approve those changes. Well, we'll just start afresh, right? We have some existing members. We're just making the adjustments as stated. Would someone like to make that motion? Okay, I'll make it. Is there a second? I saw Taylor. Okay. All right. Is there any comments or questions? Okay. So will anyone opposed? Anyone abstains? All those in favor, just raise your hand, say aye. Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. And Phil. Okay, I see you, Phil. Okay, that passes 11-0-0. All right. All right, so let's try with Bikeways Engineering, which is chaired by Jennifer. I'm going to read off the members currently, okay, per Kent's suggestion. And because these are currently held as joint meetings, joint meetings, it's a little bit confusing as far as which agenda item is bikeways engineering and which agenda item is planning. We probably need to do a better job with that. So we probably technically need to identify which motions might be related to bikeways engineering, but I would say most of the motions, tell me if I'm accurate, Jennifer and Kent, most of the motions seem to be related to planning rather than bikeways engineering.
Because we haven't had much participation from LADOT with regards to the design elements that you were talking about, or, you know, we used to go to LADOT and they would present the maps, you know,
Right.
the street maps, but we haven't had that. Basically, I've been working with the homeless and the maintenance situation in this past year on it.
Okay, but this is for voting, and so if your
Well, I mean, this
committee,
is what where it's going, you
right,
know, Kent
are you
takes care of.
are you voting in the committee? I said I haven't noticed it, but if you could tell me if I'm wrong.
Am I voting?
No, the committee, bikeways.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you for some reason. I'm not sure why. Could you repeat that question, please?
Motions in the committees, in the joint meetings, bikeways engineering. Are there motions coming from bikeway? I know you had one on the homelessness issue, the motion you put forward. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't seem like it happens that often. I just want to confirm I'm accurate.
Well, you know, Michael was presenting, he's not a member, but he was presenting an issue on Forest Lawn. There are John Lowy has presented issues.
Okay,
These are
I'm sorry.
bikeway issues.
I'm sorry.
And so
I
I'm not arguing with you, Glenn. This is what we've been doing.
Right, I'm just trying to find out.
Planning is not about the existing bikeway. Planning should be about a future bikeway, and the bikeways themselves are already in existence and need to be maintained. And I think we should look at it like that, but obviously in the past you haven't. So, you know, maybe we do.
So this is just about people making an informed decision about joining the committee so they can be a voting member. Kent, can you help out?
Yeah, I would just like to say this has been a point of frustration going back years because so many of the topics we cover touch on both planning and engineering. It's been extremely difficult in some cases to make a distinction between the two. So I just consider them a joint committee. And, you know, if you're interested in one or the other, join them both, is what I say. And I don't make a distinction in the items on the agenda, right or wrong.
Okay. And this has not been a problem because we've not exceeded 9 people, but at some point we might, and that's the issue. So, okay, I'm going to go through for per Kent's suggestion. I'm going to read off the existing members and then we'll go from there. So Bikeways Engineering, Glenn Bailey, Jennifer Gill, who's chair, Taylor Nichols, John Lowry. Have a note that you're one or the other, but I'm not clear which of the two you are. Maybe you could clarify that. You're down for both.
Well, I go to the same meeting every 2 months, so I don't know the distinction.
Yeah, I have a note. I just have a note from you from before that you said one or the other, but I don't know which.
No, I'm fine the way it is.
Okay, well, right now you're down for both. Okay. Kent.
Yep, both.
And Michael Schneider.
Whatever I'm currently in, I'm happy in. I'm not clear.
You're actually in both. Well, maybe it'd be helpful if I said that. Okay. So the people who are in both, and myself, and I don't have to be but just because I was co-chair, I guess, or chair. I mean, BAC chair, I guess it just was customary. I stepped back from advocacy and education to make room for someone else. And let's see, Jennifer's on both. John Lowry was on both.
I don't have to be on planning. But that means I can't vote. And usually you need a vote, right, Kent? So I'll stay on both. Just let me stay on both.
Okay, see John with both, Kent both, Michael Schneider both. The ones who are on only one, Taylor on Bikeways Engineering. And then on planning, the ones who were just on planning was Karen, Eli. That's it. So the numbers that we have now is for Bikeways Engineering 6, and for planning we have 7. So we have room for 3 more on Bikeways Engineering and 2 more on planning. So let me go through the names that didn't call and just see if you have an interest in one of the others.
Glenn, can I ask a question?
Yes.
It's almost 8 o'clock and I just don't understand why we can't do this maybe in a Google sheet. And if people want to move, they can say they want to move, but there's so much critical stuff. I really want to let people know about our ballot measure that could change all of our lives. And like, I just feel like
Okay,
we're spending
I get,
half the
Michael,
meeting
I
on
get that. I
administrative
understand
stuff.
that.
And
But we have to vote on this. So we're gonna finish this up and we're gonna take a vote and then we'll move on. This has not been dealt with since we went virtual.
Yeah.
And we used to do this at every one of our live meetings. Because we set
Okay,
we
come on,
send
let's
a
go.
list around. Okay, so Henny's not here. She's got advocacy and education. Karen, you've got planning. You're happy with that. Good. Eli, you've got planning. You're happy with that. Janice.
I'm staying off committees for the time being. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Taylor, you're on bikeways. Carino's got advocacy and education. Aubrey is not here. He has advocacy and education. Ade's not here. He's advocacy and education. 10 is vacant. Kent, you're both. Mike, you've got advocacy and education. Is that good enough? Mike Kaiser?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Philip, same answer.
Well, background is in planning, so that seems like an obvious, easy one for me to go if there's room on it.
There is tonight, so I'm putting you down.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Thank you. 14's vacant. John Jones, we put him on advocacy and education. Is that it, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay, Michael Snyder's on both. Rob is on advocacy and education. Curtis, for these two, are you still gonna keep checking them out?
Yep, Curtis is freelancing for the moment.
Okay. All right. So, Ken, do you want me to repeat these?
Yeah,
Okay. So basically for Bikeways Engineering, there were no changes from the existing roster, but just for the record, I'll repeat it. Glenn, Jennifer, who's chair, Taylor, John Lowry, Kent, Michael Schneider. Okay.
great.
That's 6. For planning, we've had 1 change, well, 1.5 changes, because I'm going to delete this "or" for John Lowry. Okay, so Glenn, Karen, Eli, Jennifer, John Lowry, Kent, who's chair, Philip, and Michael Schneider. Okay, so that's 8.
Got it.
Okay, will someone make a motion, please, to approve these
I
committee
make a
membership?
motion. Oh,
Jennifer, I saw Kent's hand, so Jennifer moves.
I'll
And
second.
Kent seconds.
yes.
For both of these. Any comments, discussion? John, I see your hands up. John Lowry.
I'm voting for it.
Okay. All right. if there's no more discussion, then we'll go ahead and do the vote. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? See no hands and hear no one, no. Any abstentions? Say abstain. I see none. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Eli and Kent waiting, looking for your hands. Got it. 11. Okay, that passes. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Sorry that it took long, but it was important business to get done. The next item on the agenda is our number 5, public comment on non-agenda items. This is opportunity for the public, not members, to comment on things that are not on the agenda. You have up to 2 minutes. You can raise hand on Zoom or use *9 on your phone. Any public comments? John, I'm going to take your hand down. Going once, public comment, non-agenda items, going once, going twice. Okay, close public comment. All right, thank you. So I didn't have anything listed for presentations, but I would like to, if there's no objection, I would like to move number 18, the agenda item that reads the request the mayor publicly support the LA Safe Streets for All ballot initiative. That was communicated by several folks. If there's no objection, I'd like to move that one up to this point, number 6. I'm not hearing any objections. So Karen, you had requested this. I know Michael Schneider is the expert. Karen, did you want to speak on it to start with, or you're muted? You're still muted.
Sorry, I'm very much in support, but I'll let Michael Schneider do the pitch because he's better at that.
Okay, and Michael, you've got screen share, so floor is yours.
Thanks. So Streets for All filed with the city to do a ballot measure a couple weeks ago. We got our title and summary back yesterday, and we should be able to start collecting signatures a week from Friday. What the ballot measure does, it's sort of a nuclear option to create the city we all want automatically. It would require the city of Los Angeles to implement the 2035 mobility plan, including all of its bike lanes and bus lanes and all the other improvements, whenever they repave a street. Other cities have done this in the country: Cambridge, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island, Seattle, Washington, and it works. And the city repaves about 200 miles of streets every year. They're not all on the mobility plan, but the ones that are, they would have no choice but to implement a bike lane, bus lane, pedestrian improvements, and so forth. So that's it. We have a website that we are about to launch. It looks like this. The initiative is called Healthy Streets LA. And it answers a bunch of questions here on what it is, why it's needed, what it would take to get it passed, et cetera. People can volunteer. They can also sign the petition. And we are working also on a parallel path to see if we can get 8 votes in the city council to just adopt this thing as an ordinance. So we're going to do the signature collection. And my ask to everybody here is, if you care about bike lanes in Los Angeles, join us and help us gather signatures. This is the nuclear option. The city would have no choice but to implement its own plan. I'll emphasize its own plan. So I'll put the link in the chat. We're also going to neighborhood councils, the NCSA and the BAC, asking for letters of support, because the more political support we can show the council that we have, the greater likelihood that we can maybe get this passed as an ordinance and not have to wait until we collect the signatures. Starting mid-February, we will have about 100 days to collect approximately 90,000 signatures. This is by far the most ambitious effort I've ever undertaken, and Streets for All's ever undertaken, but it's worth the fight. We have a media strategy. We might be doing a die-in in front of City Hall in a couple of weeks as a launch event, and we might get a couple council members to come out with us and invite some media. I could say more, but I think I'll stop, and happy to answer any questions, and I'll put the link in the chat. And so, sorry, this motion is for the BAC to support it. And Glenn, can I intro it, or does someone else need to intro it since I can't vote tonight?
Glenn,
Yeah,
I
you
was
can.
going to, Glenn, I was going to abstain so that Michael could make the motion and vote himself since it's his project.
Yeah, you can, it's okay. You can do it.
Yeah, I
Appreciate it.
just be a bit concerned because in neighbor council land, if you're involved with something, there's certain.
I think it's better that I don't introduce it and don't vote for it.
Okay.
So I really appreciate it, Taylor. Thank you.
Then I will make the motion that the LABAC approves the Street for All motion letter to get the city of LA to follow through with its 2035 plan.
I'll second that.
Karen, I think that
Sorry.
was,
Go ahead.
I'll second it if anybody needs a second.
there's a race to second this one.
See a bunch of
Yes.
hands up. Karen, I think I saw your hand first.
Sure.
Yeah, I got her for seconding, but I'm happy to have multiple seconds. So
Oh, no, sorry. I meant, I think they had questions, if I'm not mistaken.
okay, well, let's finish up with the seconding.
Philip,
Karen,
Philip and-
Eli, Curtis. Was that all the folks who said they were going to second?
A joint second.
Okay. Before we go to hands, Michael, are you able to screen share the motion, especially the last part of it? I can do it because I had the agenda, but if you've got it faster, then
And we need questions.
I know I want to get the motion in front of us because there was, unless you don't want to use the wording that was linked in the agenda.
No, we should use the wording. I have, hold on, just take me 1 second. Here it is.
Hello, Aubrey.
Oh,
So you just want me to go to the last part, Glenn?
Yeah, unless someone, I mean, this is all included in your agenda that was emailed to you. So, but if you need for us to go through the whereases, we can, but yeah, but right there.
So the whereas lays out the case for it. I'm not going to preach to the choir. You guys can read it. It's stuff you all know about why this is needed. So it would say, therefore be it resolved that the Los Angeles Bicycle Advisory Committee supports the Safe Streets for All ballot initiative. We ask that the Los Angeles City Council create an ordinance that automatically implements the mobility plan in 2035 when we're paving streets using the exact language as written in the initiative. And the reason it says that last part is our city council loves to approve propose amendments. And the last thing we would want is to get to the finish line with the city council part. And then they add something that says, unless a city council member doesn't want to, or whatever, like gives themselves an out. So that last line is especially important.
Okay, we also had, I think this was from Karen, maybe from you, and what I put on the agenda says request that the mayor publicly support the LA Street Safe for All ballot initiative. So I think that sentence should be included.
So let me think how to do this, because this link is a public link and others are using it in different organizations.
Right, but what I just read was the, well, right, but we can just make we can just add a sentence on that's separate from what you don't need to change this public viewable item. We can just tack on the sentence that I was asked to put on.
So let me ask you this, Karen and Glenn. This goes to the mayor. So I'm wondering if it's sufficient to pass this and then Karen or any mayoral rep can go to the mayor's office and say, well, the mayor issue a press release in support of this or something like that.
So I'd be more comfortable with the wording, adding the wording that's on the agenda,
Okay.
in addition to what you have there at the bottom. And again,
Sure.
if this is something other people are using, you don't need to add it right now because we have it printed on our agenda. We could just say the motion is this plus that wording.
Sure. I can temporarily type in the wording and we can, let me do this.
Okay.
I'll make a copy. And I'm going to say LABAC. And then go ahead and tell me the wording.
The BAC requests that the mayor publicly support the LA Safe Streets for All ballot initiative.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need a motion to amend?
Well, that is what we have on the agenda. So they're both, it's on the agenda plus the link to the motion. So I think, no, I don't think we do because it's all there already.
Okay. And I guess I'll go ahead instead of a blank fill in.
Yeah, can you put City of Los Angeles?
What did I do? Oh, yeah. Isn't this our official name?
It's City of Los Angeles Bicycle Advisory Committee.
Got it. And then this would go to the LA City Council, and today's date would be February 1st. Okay. And I'll go ahead and share this link.
In the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, now with that, we'll take the first raised hand, which I show is Philip.
Yes, hi. In terms of the ballot initiative, when you're saying this is going to be implemented as the streets are repaved, my question hinges on whether there's an additional cost, beyond the money that's appropriated for repaving the streets. If they were to implement this alongside of that, would there need to be an additional fund or additional set of money appropriated and expended to pay for the Streets for All improvements? And if so, I'm wondering if the ballot initiative could address that and either create the money or say where the money is going to come from, so that we don't have a situation where the city comes back and says, well, we don't have any money to do this, so we can't do it.
Yeah, so first of all, we can't change the text. The text is locked and loaded, but the good news is this doesn't cost more money. When you repave a street, you have to restripe it by definition. So you can just restripe it differently. You can stripe a bus lane or a bike lane for free when you're restriping a street anyway. For enhancements like a protected bike lane, bollards are pretty cheap. The other thing is LA DOT would likely need more staff for this, but that's just something the city is going to have to figure out. And Philip, I wanted to ask you, you said you're on the Echo Park Neighborhood Council?
That's Rampart Village.
Rampart Village. Would you be willing to bring a motion of support to the Rampart Village NC board?
Oh, yes, I would.
Thank you. I'll put that link in the chat.
Thank you.
I've got a question.
I've got a line of questions. Is that so? You can't use your raise hand? Okay, Curtis.
Mine's quick. Michael, when do you expect to be going to various neighborhood councils so that we can appear in our local community and be supportive? Do you have a list?
We're already doing it. It's agendized at 11 already. I would love help in going to more. And Curtis, if you want to help me in Sherman Oaks, right?
Correct.
I've already sent it to Avo. I don't know if he's going to agendize it, but if you want to help push it through in your neck of the woods, I would really appreciate that.
I'm happy to nag Avo.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Aaron?
Just related to that, I'm in Olympic Park. I don't know if you need somebody there, but
I need it all. Yes.
Okay.
The link that I just put in the chat
Okay.
for Philip, please just use that same link. And that's the motion of support you could agendize at your neighborhood council.
Yeah. And I just wanted to bring up the reason I wanted to address this issue specifically was to invite others who want to help me make outreach to the mayor's office. I'd like to make a particular pitch since he came into office pushing the Vision Zero and he's on his way out. I think this would be a great way to bookend his legacy on this issue and bolster it by putting a little more oomph where his words were about getting the mayor's voice behind this and backing up city council members. My understanding is that he's traditionally been deferential to city council members, and I think this is an area where the mayor's voice can help give cover to city council members by saying this is an important issue for unification across the city. And so I don't know if there's anybody here who would like to work with me on maybe they know somebody or the best way to approach this or want to strategize with me. But because I have been a mayoral representative for 4 years, but I've never actually met with anybody in his office, or I don't have particular contacts. So if anyone wants to work with me on that, I welcome that support.
We did have the mayor's deputy come to our meeting, what, maybe a year or so ago?
Aaron, I'm going to be talking to Dan Rodman, who is the Deputy Director of Transportation.
Yeah,
So,
he went to a bike meeting. I can't remember what it was downtown, but yeah, he's the one person I know of.
yeah, I'm going to be talking to him, but any other pressure or support, or if he hears it from multiple people, that would be extremely helpful. Every mayoral appointee on the BAC would be very helpful if they reach out and ask them to pay attention to this.
Yeah, so maybe we can try to coordinate a meeting where all the mayoral reps or anyone else who wants to support this has a meeting together with him and whoever else might be appropriate.
Karen, I have two people that I know that I got in touch with, one for Curtis's issue, and I can talk to you offline about it. I don't know. I haven't heard from the other person, but they're both in the mayor's. They're right next to the mayor.
Okay.
I knew them from Metro, so that's how I know them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Kent.
Yes, an observation, then a softball question. The implementation of bikeways when streets are repaved has always been a great way to flesh out the bikeway plan for all the reasons that Michael stated, cost effectiveness being primary there. But it often doesn't happen. And Michael, maybe you could explain why when this is the plan, and it's often LADOT's intention to follow through to implement the bikeway plan and to do it as streets are repaved, but often it gets stymied.
Yeah, so despite good intentions, what LADOT does first, they will probably never publicly say this, but they go through and they say, okay, here's the repaving stuff. Which council office is likely to support this? It's a political decision first, not which streets are the most dangerous or which gap in the network do we need to fill the most, but where will we get support? And without calling out individual council offices, there are offices that will just, it's a non-starter. They're allergic to anything bikes. And by the way, the mobility plan is not just about bikes. They're allergic to bus lanes. They're allergic to anything that reallocates car space. So that's why it doesn't always happen. This changes the game. This changes the conversation. So instead of DOT going into a community meeting or a neighborhood council meeting and say, hey, this street has a bike lane on it. Should we implement it or not? And then someone yells and screams how it's going to destroy the community, and then the council member listens to that and kills it. We have to implement this bike lane by law. Would you prefer if we remove the parking or a vehicle traffic lane to make room for it? It fundamentally shifts the conversation to should we do something to how should we do something? And I don't think I need to explain to everybody here how fundamentally different that would make this city.
Brilliant, Michael.
By the way, the name of the mayor's deputy that last interacted with the BAC, and I don't know if she's still there at the, it was Julia Salinas. So
That's my
Julia's gone.
contact, Glenn.
She's gone.
And I did get an email through. I heard that she got it, but she hasn't responded. So I know how to get in touch with her other ways, but
Michael, did you say she's gone?
Julia's gone. She's left.
what? No.
She's left. Yeah.
Okay.
2
When?
weeks ago.
When?
2 weeks ago,
So
approximately.
that's why she didn't answer. Oh my gosh.
Okay, any more comments, questions, including from the public? For public comment, *9 on the phone or raised hand on the computer.
I got one more name. Don't worry.
I also just want to give a shout out to LACBC and Eli, who have been really supportive of this, and we're also working with them closely, and they're going to help us hopefully round up some volunteers and also push this over the finish line. So thank you for that, Eli.
Okay, so if we're ready to vote on the motion, let's go ahead and do so. Anyone voting no? Raise your hand, say no. Anyone abstaining? All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Aubrey,
Yes.
you're
Aye.
voting yes? You're voting yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's 11-0-0. Passes unanimously.
Thank you. Karen or could somebody else other than me send this off to the people it needs to go to? I can provide email addresses.
Can you send me with the links in the chat?
Links
What
in
you
the chat.
created?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to send it off, Glenn?
Yes, I think all the names there, I have the email addresses. If there's anything that's obscure, feel free to email me the email addresses.
Okay. Would you mind BCCing me or CCing me, either one?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll contact you if there's anyone I don't have an email address for. But if you had any, like, by obscure, I mean, other than those names, you had staff or whatever, like in the mayor's office, you know, if you'd share that with me, that would be helpful. Okay, thank you very much for doing that.
Looks like Mike Rakowski's hand is up.
I got a quick question.
Yep, Mike, before you do that, I just, I see something in chat about Curtis leaving.
Yeah.
So did he leave after that vote? Or before?
He probably left before because Aubrey took his place. It's 11.
Okay, folks, if you do leave, go ahead and interrupt, raise your hand so that we make sure we keep track of the numbers as they might change. That would be very, very helpful going forward. So, okay, sorry about that. Mike, go ahead.
Is Mike Schneider's efforts, are they something that we should drop on the Facebook page? The LA TV, the City of LA DAC page?
Thank you for that. We are going to finalize this website by the end of the week. Once it's final, I'll let everyone know, and then that would be fantastic. And I also have a template for any organization like LACBC and anyone else that has a list of email addresses they want to send this to. We have a template email that they can use, and Eli, I'll be sending that your way by the end of the week.
Cool. Yeah, I look forward to that because I can ping that out to a bunch of the bicycle places I have on my list as far as pages go and all that sort of jazz.
Thank you.
And we can make sure people know that we need signatures, right, to get this moving forward.
Yeah, we need
So-
physical ink signatures. So we're buying clipboards, we're printing 30,000 signature packets. We're doing a lot of stuff, but this is going to require, by the way, please sign up yourself to volunteer. Like if anyone's willing to get at least 8 signatures, that's incredibly valuable for us.
I was just bringing that up because if we have a way of keeping track of who's expressing interest and support, to be able to follow up with them and make sure we get their ink signatures on something that matters.
There's a link on the website that says sign the petition. And I don't know if it's fully working yet, but once I say the website's done, it will be.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you everyone for indulging that out of order item. So we're going to move on to the city departments, staff reports, and some of this will maybe folded into the subcommittee reports. So Kent will advise me accordingly. So let's start with regards to transportation. Kent, is there anything that's on the, I tested all the links from last time. They're still live on these different things. The livable streets, the stress-free network survey is still live, Central A. So is there anything on these, Kent, that that needs to be said before your subcommittee?
No.
Anyone
all
else?
covered in subcommittee.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Okay, so Streets LA is a follow-up from our previous 2 meetings. Did do an update. I'm not sure, that's how many? I don't have that ready to share, so I will get that, bring that up to share, and we'll come back to this item. And if not, then we'll email that out to everybody. But it's a follow-up from their presentation at the December meeting. And so, and number 9 is LAPD, and still no info from them. So unless someone has anything that you've heard, and probably Eli will be the first to hear. So, no, okay. We do have the chief of police, Michael Moore, coming to a neighborhood council alliance in March. So if I can get a question in, I think that will be my question is, your predecessor made a commitment to cyclists in the city, but we haven't heard anything. Okay, number 10 is a request from Council District 3. And I know the deadline the deadline is today for the grant, but sometimes, things, sometimes positions can be utilized down the road. So I went in and put their item on the agenda. Janice, do you have any, well, let me read it. It's request support for Clean California grant application for pole top mounted solar lighting on the multi-use path on the LA River in Reseda and Winnetka. That's the request. That would be the motion. And basically this is to mitigate copper wire theft where the lights are not working because of the copper wire theft. And so Janice, did you have anything additional on this since it's in CD3?
I don't have anything additional, but I did have an opportunity to individually express my support to Councilmember Blumenfield and pass that along earlier last week.
Okay. And this would be funneled through that office, through Councilman Blumenfield. Are there any, let's see if we have do you want to make the motion, Janice, to support this request?
Yes. I would like to move that we support the request for the pole top lights.
Okay, is there a second? Karen, I saw your hand. Okay, is there any question or comment, including public comment from anyone? This is just supporting a grant request. So if they don't get the grant, they'll have to figure out some other way to do it. Aubrey.
What are the pole top lights?
What?
The pole top lights, what are they?
Well, they would put up a solar collector at the top of the pole
Oh,
to generate the power for the lights to be operated rather than the current electricity, because the wires get stolen.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, like the emergency roadside ones are solar powered, so certain uses that have been used. Any other questions? Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote then. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Hold your hand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have 10. Okay, that passes. Okay, is there, anyway, we'll figure out the number, but I think that's what I counted. 1, 2.
Okay.
Did Eli vote?
Okay, so it should be 11 if everyone voted yes, right?
Yeah, okay. Eli, he didn't vote.
Okay, Kent, sorry about that, but it's 11.
No problem.
And it's
Duly
11.
noted.
It's 11 until someone lets us know that they're leaving, and please do so. And don't leave, but if you do,
He's on the
before you-
phone.
So, okay, no problem. All right, 11 is Metro. Just a reminder, this is the Public Safety Advisory Committee. I don't know if anyone has attended that. I have, but not recently. Just to find out their progress. But as it relates to cyclists, part of that is the theft of bicycles at the metro stations, as well as any other public safety concerns that cyclists may have. So that's an opportunity for you to weigh in on that. The meeting, the webpage links on the agenda. I was asked to put this Sepulveda Transit Corridor project on here, even though it's heavy rail and they even have monorail options. But if you wanted to, this is the scoping of the project. And if you want to make any comments about bicycle accessibility vis-a-vis heavy rail versus a monorail configuration or anything else that's related to bicycling concerns, this is just for scoping so that they include that in their future planning. The comment deadline is February 11th, so please feel free to do so by that time frame. And Michael, I see your hands up.
Yeah, so just wanted to let everyone know, Streets for All took a position against monorail, and from a bicycling point of view, you don't want stations on a freeway overpass. They're just really inhospitable and inaccessible. Also, we think there has to be a UCLA stop, and heavy rail is far more efficient. So some of our views don't have directly to do with cycling, but this is a really key project. And if you could help us build the monorail in the or any other, please appreciate it.
Michael, you're kind of breaking up. You might want to turn off your video if your bandwidth is low. But I think we heard most of that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Ken.
Yeah, just a little primer on project development. The scoping stage is actually quite important to introduce elements of a project that we would want evaluated. And this is not just for this project, for any project. Because if they aren't registered at this level, if they aren't entered into the discussion at the scoping level, they can be left out at future stages and very difficult to bring in. So if no one says, hey, we need to have bike parking at these metro stations, and if no one says that and they go ahead and plan without it, what we've seen happen in the past is like, it's too late, you know, this is not part of what we funded. We didn't anticipate that that was going to be a need. No one brought it to our attention. So that's why the scoping stage is something we should be paying attention to it on any project that Metro does.
And I did attend one of the scoping meetings, and if they choose the heavy rail option, I don't see why there couldn't be connectivity with the purple line. I don't know what the letter is, but if the purple line from Wilshire, and be able to allow that then to come up to the Van Nuys Metrolink Amtrak station, which, you know, would be helpful to cyclists as far as one trip either way. Unless you want, if you don't want to ride the Sepulveda Pass up
It's
and
actually a
down.
different, I think the gauge is the same, but the tracks are incompatible. And they would also be on 2 different planes. So unfortunately, it wouldn't be possible for a Purple Line train to go up the Sepulveda Pass or vice versa, even if heavy rail is chosen.
Okay, well, that's disappointing. All right. So, I mean, I would make that as part of the scoping, you know, they should figure out, or they should make a way to engineer it, make it happen.
I was told there's not enough money. You would need a huge amount of space for the trains to connect, and there's no junction box planned, and it would cost a lot more money to make that happen. I'm just the messenger. I agree with you.
Is it something that there can be nearby stops for transit, for transfer?
Oh, wait, they'll share a stop, but I'm just saying you're gonna have to get off, go up or down, and then get on the other line.
That's not so bad.
Well, it depends on how many other connections you've made, right?
Well, that's what we do on the 110, and we do it on Long Beach. Well, the 110 for sure. We have to go up and down.
I mean, that's, you know, the city is investing a huge amount of money to provide connectivity to the Expo line and the Gold line. I mean, so that's all in the Blue line, right? By putting in that connector downtown. And so they did that after the fact at
Yep.
huge expense. So it'd be better if I mean, I realize it's only so much money, but, you know, maybe in 50 years, there'll be a conversation. Oh, gee, we should have done this when we first did this, right? And then it'd be a huge expense and whatever. Or maybe there'll be so many buildings built, they won't even be able to do it. So, okay. So, yeah, so February 11th is the deadline to submit the comments. Follow the link that's on the agenda, and you can see the various methods that you can do comments. Michael, if you wanted to share the comment letter that Streets for All did, that might be helpful for folks to maybe be.
Rob, put it in the chat.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else on that? Okay. Caltrans District 7. The survey is still open, even though I heard at, let's see, Kent, I think it was it the planning committee?
Yeah.
That, yeah, because I had notes on I didn't get your minutes till after this agenda was done, but I had a note that he said something about a draft plan being available in March. So I put that on here. So even though the survey is still open, so maybe in March we'll have him and he can speak to it, or you can have him at your subcommittee and see where we stand as it relates to City of LA projects. Okay, so that takes us to advocacy and education, number 13, advocacy and education subcommittee report. So for anyone, so I guess we have one co-chair here, Rob. And so this would be the place to, I put a few things that that I noted. I did not get any request to put anything specifically on the agenda, but I looked through what all the things that were discussed and tried to figure out the things that were appropriate. So I listed some on here, but you're not limited to those. You certainly can mention other things, but generally, if there's a motion from subcommittee, that definitely needs to get to me so I can put the motion on the agenda, and then just any other updates could be shared. So floor is yours, and anyone else wants to help Rob on that would be fine.
Thank you. If people were paying attention to the chat, I did put something out about a kind of a reference manual for LABAC members. And a lot of the information that we've been talking about in the education advocacy is in there. the last section is a list of advocacy groups, cycling groups, information. So you may take a look at it. This one is designed specifically for West LA to create one document that covers all of LA is a little bit much. And so the idea would be for individual committee members to create their own, maybe by region. The other part of that reference manual I would indicate is our committee roster. And I tried to indicate the LADOT programs that have some bearing on some of the work that we're doing and the context for that. So if you would take a look at that, if there are errors or corrections or staffing changes that have occurred, that would be great. So I will send that out independently to the group after the meeting so that you can view it and get your comments back to me. But part of it is to create some basic reference materials and then also to collect hard copy stuff so that when you're at public places, when you're doing an outreach event, you have some things that the city provides. So LADOT often at Ciclavia will give out little patch kits. And so I picked these up last time Ciclavia was close to Mar Vista and said, hey, if you at the end of the event, if you've got leftover stuff, give it to me. And so I picked up a bunch of flyers and patch kits and other stuff. So we're wanting to promote what we can and get you the tools to spread the gospel.
Rob?
Yes, sir.
Would it be possible to put that document into a Google Doc and give us a link to it or create a link sometime? So it can be shared around that way?
Yeah, I'd love, what my goal would be to get posted on our website so that we could do QR codes and that kind of stuff. It's a Word document. I can see if it moves to Google Doc. So I'll work on that.
Good.
Rob,
Thank you,
you know Carino, right? And
I do.
Henny.
Yep.
Because they can link it on the website.
Glenn, do we need official approval before we put anything like that up on the resource? It is just a resource.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's been vetted. It's been vetted in the subcommittee. It's informational.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think there was anything controversial about it. The committee roster and the LADOT context may be a little bit sensitive, so we'll hold off on that, but the bicycle resource stuff. Thank you.
I think that information is already there, so yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't be posted. Okay, so I also noted from your notes or from Henny's notes, in addition to the outreach material, the Metro bicycle classes, the website and social media updates, and e-bike partners. Is there anything you want to add on any of those topics?
We are looking at, one of the things that we identified was riding with lights, riding at night. And so Metro actually offers a couple of classes about riding riding at night, and LACBC used to have Project Firefly. So we're looking at how do we do education? What are the timely seasonal kinds of things that we want to be paying attention to? E-bikes are becoming an exciting opportunity for many people. And I know LACBC has some things that they're working around that. So we're looking at how to ride with, how do we share the road with everyone, from scooters, e-bikes, analog, digital. Let's share the road. We're looking at also part of the list that the roster does have the scooter companies and how to have them be partners and kind of share the road and safe riding, scooting, walking, running, jogging. Next meeting will be same time, same place as it normally is, and we'll work on that.
Okay, first Tuesday at 7 p.m. on odd months. So that would be March 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the Zoom ID can remain the same unless you or Henny wants to take on that responsibility, which is fine with me. But
I do have a Zoom account that I could use.
what this account that we're using has the advantage of is being able to record to the cloud unlimited. Also toll-free telephone numbers if people want to call in without having to call up to San Jose.
We'll stay the course then. I'll just figure out the back end of how to do it all. Thank you, Glenn.
Okay, thanks. All right. Thank you. Any questions, Rob? And thanks for taking that on. I do want to say one thing on the website. Carino is out of the country for a couple months. So Henny,
He left?
well, he's going to be. He said February, March, April.
I talked to him a few days ago. Okay.
Okay, I don't know the exact date, but I just want to let you know for a few months, Henny has agreed to assist with the website while he's gone.
Beautiful.
Okay.
But I want to tell you, he's the one that loaded the agenda. Okay.
Okay. I'm glad he hadn't left. All right. So thank you very much. We'll move on to item 14, Bikeways Engineering Subcommittee. Jennifer.
I'm deferring to Kent.
Okay, that takes us number 15, Planning Subcommittee, Kent.
Right.
And Kent, I did I was at the meeting, I had the agenda, I took some notes, but I did the best I could without having minutes. So I put some things down and you can certainly expand of things I didn't include.
Okay, I believe all those items are covered in my report, which I'll try and speed through here. It was emailed to all you. If you have any questions from reading it in advance, I'll entertain them now. Otherwise, I'll just go ahead and read through my report. Hearing none, I'll get started. The first item of interest is Vision Zero update. And there's a series of projects that were summarized for us, starting with Central Avenue, Century to Imperial. They're upgrading to parking protected bike lanes with bus boarding islands and median islands. Western Avenue, MLK to Century. Community meetings are underway. They're considering traffic calming elements, a variety of them. No bikeways are planned for Western Avenue. And if you know Western Avenue, you probably understand why. It's a very crowded little corridor. They are looking to designate parallel bike routes on adjacent streets such as Dinker. Then quite a bit of time was spent describing the Wilmington Safe Streets projects, which includes Anaheim and Figueroa and some other streets. Community engagement is underway. Anaheim is a critical regional link. If you have ever traveled to Long Beach by way of the South Bay, that is one of the more likely streets you would need to use. And it's designated on many Pacific Coast bike routes. It's on the high entry network. They're planning crosswalks, beacons, leading pedestrian intervals, median refuges, bulb outs. The bikeway improvements will be the sort of standard bike lanes and protected bike lanes, bike boxes, bike corrals, bollards. However, protected bike lanes were shown in the Mobility Plan 2035 are not included, unfortunately. Well, they're not included everywhere. It's kind of a patchy implementation, I believe. There's a number of adjacent streets, neighborhood streets that are part of this. L Street, Hawaiian Avenue, Neptune, Eubank. Some of them are getting some safety improvements. They're considering some diverters, traffic circles, speed humps, bulb outs, sharrows, that sort of thing. They're expecting a draft concept by March, final concept by May, and they're planning to begin doing quick build elements in summer, installing those, and presumably more permanent stuff will come later. There's a survey that is active. I could put it in the chat. It's at the city's Vision Zero, lacity.org. Yep. Okay, moving on to active transportation project updates, unless there's any questions or comments on the Vision Zero stuff. Okay, active transportation updates, which included planning for stress-free connections. Severin Martinez presented. There are going to be 2 design labs, one on February 12th at, yeah, I think that one's at Ellie. Well, here's a better list.
It's on the agenda. It's on the agenda for everyone. It's 11 a.m.
Okay.
to 1 at LA City College.
Great, thank you. Okay. Bureau of Engineering's 7th Street protected bike lane upgrade. This little update just on that particular project. It will include protected intersections, which are the sometimes referred to as a Dutch style intersection that have little islands to protect cyclists. They're very innovative and welcome to see. We had some updates on the LA River bike path closures made by Edward Giron. The Headwaters project is in construction. It's in the Far West Valley, Canoga Park, Winnetka area. Then the segment of the LA River Bikeway north of the 134 off-ramp south to Riverside Drive. It's about a 3,000 foot segment. There was a geotech report completed. They're reviewing short-term solutions and will do short-term repair as funding is identified. Let's see. The bike path near the Red Bridge, near Victory Boulevard, there's the levee system there needs substantial repairs. There's been squirrel damage to the soil. They're considering injecting slurry with an epoxy and doing squirrel abatement. Then there was a question about the Orange Line bicycle access at Canoga, and we were told that that is in the long-range plan. Yosemite Boulevard in Eagle Rock, installation of some bikeway elements there soon. They have a ATP application in the works for East Valley Hanson Dam project that they're working on. And Riverside Drive and Burbank Boulevard resurfacing has triggered some bikeway implementation there. The next item we covered was the road resurfacing schedule bikeway implementation matrix that Streets for All developed. Michael, do you want to give a little summary of that?
Sure. We basically, and I'm pulling it up as I'm talking, we basically compared all of the scheduled repavings over the next 3 fiscal years to the mobility plan. And so everything on this list is the low-hanging fruit of implementation. And obviously, if this ballot measure were implemented and passed, this would just be automatic. But so for this fiscal year, just a reminder, the city goes from July 1st to June 30th. So we're in the middle of fiscal year 21-22. Everything that's in red is an upgrade opportunity, meaning there's a lower class currently than is defined in the mobility plan. So these are class 2s, and the mobility plan has them as class 4s, protected bike lanes. Anything that's in yellow is implement. So there's nothing there. And the mobility plan calls for class 2 or class 4. And then anything that's green is done. So the facility that the mobility plan envisions is already there. So there's, as you can see, there are, let's see, there are 89 opportunities for mobility plan implementation for this fiscal year. And we also did 22-23. And as you can see, there's, how many is that? That's 96. And then in 23-24, there are 69 opportunities. So we basically meet with council offices and try to identify which ones they will support and work with DOT and push everything along. But they're not all going to make it. And these are all opportunities to get bike lanes for free because they have to restripe the street anyway. Anything else you want me to cover, Kent?
Unless you can say something about how the individual members can interact with their council office to
Sure.
get
I
these.
mean, anything that's on this list that you want to see happen, if you represent that council office, it'd be good to bring it up with them. There are council offices on here that I don't think will do anything just because it's a bike lane, but no harm in bringing it up. The ones that have these little symbols mean that they're already in progress, where we are aware that they're already in progress. But yeah, that's how an individual member could help.
Mm-hmm. And any of them that are going to entail lane removal, is that categorized, Michael?
That's a given at this point. I mean, all the low-hanging fruit in Los Angeles is gone. So any of these are going to require some sort of compromise to car space.
Yeah. So
not necessarily lane removal, could be parking too.
Yeah. So we can assume that there will be pushback from various quarters. So it would be good for the council office to hear support wherever possible that we can drum it up.
Yeah, and also don't assume that the council office even knows about these. DOT does not bring up every single one. This is a public sheet. You can share this link with them and explain it to them. But yeah, I would just start at the beginning and don't take for granted that they actually know about them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a proposal to make this, a standing item, and that was approved by the subcommittee. So we'll be reviewing it at each of the subcommittee meetings. And our contact at LADOT, Tam Nguyen, did point out that they have some staff capacity limitations that makes it difficult for them to stay out in front of these because they feel they're required to bring this to the community before they do any implementation to get feedback. And that may be a requirement that stemmed from a state ruling that no longer requires that bikeways that alter the roadway undergo an informal environmental review, but they do need to be brought up for a hearing, potential hearing or something like that. So I think that's the city's effort to fulfill that obligation.
And I don't think, are you talking about the bike lanes that we just looked at?
Yeah, well
yeah, go ahead.
It was my understanding anytime a bikeway could have a potential impact on traffic capacity, it used to be subjected to an environmental review, but it is no longer.
Yeah, there's no environmental reviews. What the city does have to do with their lawsuit settlement with Fix the City is they do have to do a traffic study. So that is a requirement if the vehicle traffic lane is being removed and not parking. But they don't have to do anything beyond that. And given that with COVID, traffic volumes are down so much and telework and remote working is likely here to stay for a good percentage, I actually think we're going to have a much easier time getting these things in. The average daily traffic volume is probably down 8 to 10%, and that's plenty to implement one of these things and still get the green light.
Do we know if the department goes ahead and does that analysis before they start doing community outreach on these projects?
In theory, they do, but again, they don't do all of these projects. They only do a handful. But for the ones they pick up, if a lane reconfiguration is involved, they would do a traffic study.
Mhm. Yeah, and Tam did say they're hoping to recruit new staff to help with this workload.
They've requested 18, and I hope
Oh.
that the mayor's budget gives it to them.
Let me make a note of that.
If I could just interject here, my hand went up when Michael made the comment that some council offices aren't open to what the community is supporting in terms of bikeways, but I would like us all to take it upon ourselves to give that feedback whenever we see something in our area or a street we know that's under consideration, to let that council office know that we care, because I think there's just so much perception that, oh, nobody bikes here, nobody cares, it's only about the cars, or that's the only people they hear from. And I want them to hear from us regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. I think that's all I have here. We didn't have a report. Well, let's see, the Permanent Slow Streets Program. Something about the Mid-City West, the design is imminent. And there'll be traffic circles in the design. And again, Michael, maybe you know more than me on that.
It's the total shit show. The city has had the funding for a year to do permanent slow streets, and they've implemented 2, and the rest, it's just been frozen. Their first attempt at it was basically a bunch of signs on the sidewalk telling drivers it was a slow street. We pushed back really hard, so did Pico and a few others, and now we're supposed to get a design that has some neighborhood traffic circles and some paddle signs in the parkway in the middle of the street and some other things that might actually work. So I'm hopeful all this delay will result in a better product, and then once the template is baked, the city will just go, but it's just so absurd how long this is taking. That's my update.
Kent?
Yes.
I wanted to bring up Michael Bratkowski's, geographic statement about Forest Lawn, and I didn't see anything about it. Could you, I want him to know that he's got a nice start with how to maintain. And that's where I'm having a problem with the bikeway engineering kind of, who are we kind of thing, because I understood that we should be talking to Bureau of Street Services, which is engineering, correct? Right? They're engineers.
Well, we do have a Bureau of Engineering too.
Yeah, or the BOE. So,
Yeah.
I got Michael and Curtis both involved in something on the bike lanes. One was, they're talking about shoving the bikes off during development. And that's what I was asking Julia Salinas about.
This
And
is
then
Sunset. That's Sunset, right?
and then Figueroa and lots of places around the city.
Mhm.
So those 2 things I feel are bikeway engineering, projects.
Well, this is a perfect
really-
example of the gray area, because
Yeah.
this gets into a city policy of how they handle construction zones and the sort of requirements they make of developers and planning for that. So is it
Well, we have
planning
these 2
or
new
is it
members.
engineering?
Yeah, do we have these 2 new members who are willing to dig in, and I'd like to, create some way for them to do that, within the bikeway engineering department, or wherever we are, subcommittee.
That's
you
fine.
know?
Yeah, let's do it there.
Okay, I'm just bringing it up because I just want everybody to hear this, and if you're interested in helping with this as well, we need to keep our bike lanes going,
Mhm.
and not only paved streets, we need to keep them, from developers, and we need to keep them from homeless people. I mean, both sides of the track.
Yeah, well, the construction zone interruptions are temporary typically.
They're temporary for a couple of years and those
Yeah,
people, and different
that's a long
people have
temporary.
different ways of being temporary, you know?
Mhm.
And they have different ways of designating where the bikes go. And, you know, yeah, anyway. That's my 5 cents.
Now, that's an important topic, and we should be covering it again and following through on it in our subcommittee, I think, and getting some feedback from the city on what their policies are and how they handle that. And
And I found the name of the guy. It's Daniel Rodman. Do you know him, Michael? Is he gone? Michael left?
That's the name that I mentioned.
Oh.
I'm meeting
Oh,
with
you
him.
did say Dan. Yeah, I've known him
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me Selena was gone. You know, he said she was there. Anyway, he's a director of, he's a deputy director now. He used to be a manager. Now he's a deputy director of transportation. So he's a really great guy. He's very open to conversation.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, that's how I'm going to support you.
Mhm.
And one more thing, I don't know if this is part of Bikeways, but I think it is. Slauson corridor is on a run from Crenshaw over to the river. Do you hear that, Aubrey?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, that's really exciting that started, you know, anyway.
that's great. I haven't been following that. It'd be great.
Yeah,
to
I
get
just
a
found it
report.
the other day. Metro approved it. And they're the ones that started it to begin with. And, you know, because it's connecting Crenshaw all the way to the river.
Yeah, we probably should have been tracking the design of that.
Oh, it's good. I did. I went to a lot of meetings.
Okay.
It was really well done. And it's walking
That's
and biking and lots of trees, lots of, you know, getting rid of the railroad tracks or covering them or whatever they're going to do. I think they're going to cover them because they might need them someday. Who knows? If they do a light rail across there, who knows what their plan.
Yeah, they'll tear them up and replace them if they put in a new rail line.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they might go alongside it. I don't know. They might figure it out or they might not. I don't know. But anyway, it's starting. So that's a really big deal.
Great, good news. The final thing is the project suggestion list still exists as a Google Doc. It's a spreadsheet. If you have projects that you want to see us pay attention to, the city to pay attention to, especially opportunities, the city does pay attention to our list, and when they're going through their work plan, sometimes they tap into our suggestions. So that's my final item, Glenn. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thanks. Have we got
Michael
all the-
has a question.
I do want to say just on the listing for the link, I'll just keep that on this agenda. You know, permanently. I have it titled Mobility Plan Street Repavings List. So if anyone wants the wording changed, let me know, but I'll just keep that on. Mike B. We have 3 mics tonight.
Is that suggestion list that Kent has talked about, is that listed anywhere?
Yeah, it's often in our agendas with a link to it.
Okay. Is it on the website?
Is it on the website? It should be, deserves to be.
I'll look. Thanks.
It may not be though. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, any other questions?
Is Mike B on a bike, a stationary bike? Wonderful.
Yeah, I've got a 200K race this Saturday, so I gotta toughen myself up a bit.
Looking good.
Okay, I'd like to move on to item 16, which is the LA County Bicycle Coalition update. Eli, we finally got to it with you still with us, so the floor is yours.
I mean, I think the main thing I want to say is that, you know, appreciating that we all have a lot of different projects and things going on, I would just encourage everyone to get involved with the Healthy Streets campaign. The signature, it's I think Michael's, it's a moonshot is the way he described it to me. It's going to take all of us and then some. So I would just, you know, I would just throw my support behind that. But in the meantime, if there's interest in drumming up support, also grabbing signatures, we've got a pilot project that LACBC is doing. We have access to a small fleet of e-bikes. We ran an early pilot with CD4 Nithya Raman back in July to do like an infrastructure audit ride. They're Himaway fat tire bikes. They're very comfortable. Anybody can get on them and ride them with ease. We'll bring LCIs. Those are our league cycling instructors will be there. And I'm going to put
You just muted yourself.
why isn't this working? I'll put a link in the chat that will kind of describe what these rides could be. We'd like to get them started. You know, we're aware of Omicron, but we'd like to get them started again sometime in maybe earliest would be March. So if you feel like your council member would be open to a fully supported bike infrastructure ride on Himway bikes, we provide the bikes. And we'll bring in the bike marshals to make sure that everyone's safe. Let me know. I'll put my email in the chat, but that's something that we're going to try to start kicking off in March. And then the other thing is that, and I've been talking to Curtis, who I believe is gone. Is he gone, Curtis? He did leave, right? But anyway, I've been in conversation with Curtis and Rob. We should talk about this as well. Operation Firefly has been working with PATH, People Assisting the Homeless.
Oh, great.
For the past, the year and a half, because they still have direct service to those communities. They've got paid, employees that have full PPE, and they can go out and do that work. So if your council member is interested in collaborating with LACBC and PATH to hand out bike lights, we're still in daylight savings time. This is the highest incidence of crashes where pedestrians and cyclists are the most vulnerable, the most that we see the highest number of those types of crashes and casualties. So that's another program that we're starting. Basically, the way it works, it's a great sort of optics moment. Is that we work with the council member to find a high injury network intersection. We set up a table to do some public engagement. The council person comes out, helps us hand out free bike lights. And they're not really for seeing, they're to be seen. So they blink. They're these small silicone things with like a watch battery. The bikes are, the lights are free, and we do a small, there you go, exactly what Rob's holding up, something like that. So again, if you're interested in getting into either creating a ride, an infrastructure ride in your council district, or one of these bike light handouts, let me know, and I'll put a links in the chat now. But again, I'll just close by saying, just the thing that Streets for All is doing is totally radical. It's it's unproven, but like it's like we need something to get things going. LACBC board is also very involved. So we're doing a push on our end from top to bottom, and so just want to again throw my support for the record to really just get people out. We need those signatures. It's tough. It's a tough thing to ask to get those wet signatures. So anyway, wanted to say that again.
Okay, my turn to be muted. Thank you, Eli. Okay, so number 17 is Streets for All update. Michael S.
I already told you guys about the big one, the ballot measure. I wanted to tell you about 4 state measures that we're working on that could all impact cycling. One I think might get introduced tomorrow or definitely this week. It would require any city in California, when it updates its general plan, to include complete street elements and to map a high entry network. And then it would have a combination of carrots and sticks to get them to take steps to fix that sooner than later. So that is being introduced by Senator Portantino. We're a sponsor of the bill, and it's pretty exciting. We've also included that cities can only use class 1 and class 4 facilities. So we're actually trying to get rid of door zone bike lanes as well as sharrows. So it's ambitious, but we'll see what happens.
Those two separate state measures?
That's one measure that I just said.
That's all in
It
one?
would mandate that they can only do class 1 and class 4 for any street over 25 miles per hour. The second one is a bill that would finally kill sharrows on any street over 25 miles per hour. Beverly Hills, for example, is proposing sharrows on Doheny, which drives me crazy. And sharrows, I just think, are an inappropriate use of a bike facility on anything other than a small residential street. So this would basically outlaw cities from implementing class 3 bike routes on streets over 25 miles per hour. For those that aren't aware, Vine in Hollywood has sharrows on it. That cars go 45, 50 miles per hour. Fountain through LA and West Hollywood has sharrows. Those are just 2 examples. And if you're not familiar with the area and you turn on Google Maps and hit go, it'll take you on those streets because they're classified as bike routes. So that needs to change. Number 3 is a bill that would mandate that Caltrans implement leading pedestrian intervals at all state highway intersections that have signals. So in LA, that would include streets like Santa Monica Boulevard, west of the 405 to Centinela, and from La Brea to the 101. It would include good portions of Western Avenue, Lincoln Boulevard, and a few other places. And it would also codify into law that cyclists can use LPIs just like pedestrians. So right now, I think that's kind of a gray area, but it would codify that. The last one that I'm so excited.
Mike, just if you could clarify, what streets would that last one mandate PLIs?
Any state highway.
Any state highway, okay.
Yeah, so any Caltrans state highway. It would also provide guidance to cities to implement them, but it wouldn't mandate it. It would mandate it on state highways.
Urban highways.
State highways and urban areas. Well, sorry, any intersection that's signalized on the highway network. So urban or not, if there's a crosswalk, it would help you. And then lastly, there's Assemblymember Garcia is going to introduce a bill, I think tomorrow, on not allowing any more freeway widening in California. It doesn't prohibit all freeway widening, but it's targeted to lower income communities and communities that disproportionately suffer from pollution. But let's be honest, if Caltrans and Metro wanted to build a highway through Beverly Hills, the residents would have the resources to fight that off in a second. So in effect, this would ban all freeway widenings in California, which is just really exciting. So we are, they actually don't accept sponsors, but we're a supporter of the bill. And we launched our Destruction for Another website. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but I'll put it in the chat in case you're curious. And this could unlock a ton of money for other things, including bikeways, active transportation and transit, if we stop spending billions on freeway widening. And on that note, the LA Times has agreed to publish an op-ed that I wrote probably next month on this. I can say it at a high level. All of Metro's rail and bus project for the next 30 years that we're going to spend tens of billions of dollars on are going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and VMTs. And their highway program is going to add 345 miles of new highways. And not only is it going to negate all of the savings, but it's going to double it. Meaning we're spending tens of billions of dollars to increase vehicle miles traveled and increase greenhouse gas emissions. It's really depressing. So we really do need to stop widening highways. If Assemblymember Garcia's bill passes, that will be huge. And Metro and Caltrans will literally legally not be able to proceed on a lot of these projects. So I'm hopeful. So that's the state bills. Things more locally, this is very early, but I just wanted to give you guys a sneak preview. The Cahuenga Pass is going to be repaved, Cahuenga Boulevard East, in fiscal year 23-24, and just having very early conversations with both CD4 and Caltrans on a protected bike facility through the Cahuenga Pass. So excited about that. moving forward, hopefully on Biona Creek, trying to get the Bureau of Engineering to officially take it on as a project, and then hopefully we can apply for funds to extend the bike path to Venice and Cochrane. Spoke to the LAFD a couple weeks ago and politely asked them to please stop killing progressive road design in the name of huge fire trucks. One interesting thing I learned was they just got their first electric fire truck, and it's 40% smaller, and it's built in Sweden. And if that's proven successful, eventually they want to replace the whole fleet. So that could solve a lot. But in the meantime, that's probably a 20, 30-year project. We still want to work with them better. So working on that. And lastly, we have Stephanie Wiggins for Streets for All Happy Hour next week. New CEO of Metro. Going to be a very interesting conversation. Also talking about highways, active transportation, etc. So you can go to streetsforall.org and RSVP. It's a free event, of course. And then next month, we're going to have County Supervisor Holly Mitchell on Happy Hour. That's it. Thanks.
Michael.
Yeah.
Your first question about the door zone. Are you talking about getting rid of those white lines, the extra line, or what was that? I didn't understand.
It would not allow for class 2 bike lanes as part of these general plan updates. So it would either have to be class 1 or class 4. Class 1's an off-street facility. Class 4 is a protected facility.
Oh. So that white extra space next to the bike lane would be eliminated? Is that what you're saying or not?
That has nothing to do. So a class 2 facility is just a painted bike lane. Those would go
Just
away.
one lane, right? Because they're now doing 2. They're doing like another, it looks like almost a foot out from the edge of the bike lane.
It would need to have
Not
physical.
buffered. Huh?
It would need to have physical protection, which would be class 4. So it could be a parking protected bike lane, or it could have bollards, but it would need to be some sort of protected facility. It wouldn't be allowed to be on the other side of parked cars in the street like it is today. The idea being we want to build something that people actually use and it'll keep them safe.
This is about future, not destroying the ones we have.
Yeah, future.
And does that mean that we won't get bike lanes if there isn't enough room for the protected lane requirements?
Don't know, but cities have to
Be
also
careful.
meet VMT reductions and greenhouse gas emission reductions. And there's also pressure from constituents for multimodality. So I hope it doesn't lead to that. But the intention is to, like big cities like Los Angeles, not a problem. We actually have a very good plan. We're just ignoring it, hence the ballot measure. But for cities, smaller cities and other cities that don't have a plan, this would have them incorporate multimodality into their plan.
Michael, do you want to say anything about that drop-in curb divider for bike lanes that I saw in the Slack?
Oh, sure. I got a mole in my Slack.
The city's evaluating them or something?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So I have been begging the city to stop just using these K71 plastic bollards that literally, if you look at the sales literature, a bullet point is won't damage vehicles. On the 6th Street Bridge, which is a big project in downtown, obviously, they are going to be testing these drop-in cement rectangles. Like basically imagine a parking space, the cement block that stops your car. They're going to test those. So they're going to put those along the paint of the bike lane, and then they're going to install bollards on top of them. And it's a really material difference because these things are, I don't know, 4 inches high, 5 inches high, and basically act as a curb for cars. So it'd be a lot safer. And if we could make that the standard for protected bike lanes, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I thought it was going to be like some kind of non-bollard. They're just going to stick the 4-inch curb out there and not put anything on top of it.
No, they're putting bollards on top.
Okay. One question: why do we hate sheriffs?
Let me count the ways.
At least they give the driver an indication that there might be some other road user out there.
I hate sharrows because I think they give the cyclists a false sense of security, and I don't think drivers give a shit. So I think they're usually more dangerous than nothing. I think on residential streets, they may have a purpose. But on
I
streets
disagree with
like,
you.
that's
I
fine.
think they totally have a purpose.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think they at least give me a reason. I understand what you're saying about the whole idea of, you know, false sense of security, but I don't know. That's okay. Anyway, whatever.
Dennis?
Me.
I just wanted to echo what Michael said, and I have been putting off dealing further with that section of Mulholland. I know that's on the project list, that Google Doc, but it's just an accident waiting to happen there, because it's very attractive for cyclists, and the drivers drive through there so fast. It's crazy.
Dennis, what stretch of Mulholland? I'm lost.
It's very far west. It's just on the edge of Woodland Hills, near Calabasas. It's just west of the intersection of Mulholland Drive with Mulholland Highway. So it's actually
It's got Sharrows.
Mulholland Drive. And there's Sharrows through there.
And what's the speed limit?
It's sensitive property. I don't recall what the speed limit is. I'll have to check. But it's sensitive property that Councilmember Blumenfield's office tells me that they cannot widen the road through there because of the environmental impact. So that's why they did Sharrows through there, but there's really not proper notice for drivers driving the speed that they are approaching that area. It's on a hill, and it's, so it's blind. It's the top of a blind hill where it just pinches down from 4 lanes down to 2 narrow lanes with Sharrows. And then the 4 lanes have actual bike lanes on either side. So, anyway.
One of the problems with Sharrows is that they're so easily ignored the way they're implemented here. There are often so few of them, so small. Some cities have put giant Sharrows as big as a car almost, which have way more visibility, like Berkeley on their, but those are even just in neighborhood streets.
Yeah, Aubrey?
Yeah, Mike, you mentioned those parking lot bumpers that you have to prevent you from running up on curbs. They're parallel in Culver City in the lanes, and they're car killers, because I've talked to several people who have just tried to change a lane into the bus lane, and they run into the parallel end of it, and it just takes out a tire and a rim. And I think I've heard, I've seen on the internet, that a lot of people are boycotting Culver City because of that, because they're not going downtown. Because to run those parallel, I think it's criminal.
Clear what you mean by parallel, Aubrey?
If you paint a white line and you put these on the white line.
What's wrong with that?
With 3 feet in between it.
What's wrong with that?
If you try to cross it, even
That's
with
the
a
whole
bicycle,
point. That's the whole point. It's protecting the cyclist.
it's protecting the buses.
Well, sure, but in this context, in the 6th Street Bridge, it would be protecting the cyclist. It should be a car killer if someone's going to veer into the bike lane.
Okay, well, Culver City is losing a lot of business because people aren't going through the downtown area.
Good.
Wow, a way to scare away cars. I'm liking this more all the time.
Yeah.
All they have to do is stay in their lane.
Yep. Yeah, at night you don't see it.
There may be a design solution so it doesn't cause
They should have
damage.
reflective stuff on them.
Nothing's on it. It's a gray concrete parallel bar, and it's like 2 feet in between them.
That was a mistake. They said they're gonna paint them, I heard.
You
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Michael, for the report. I'd like to move the agenda, and I think we're getting close to wrapping up. on the agenda, number 19, especially for the newer members, we have a cumulative listing of various council files that some of which have been languishing for several years. And a few of these, in my opinion, are within the purview of advocacy and education. And I said that to the previous chair over the years. And so now I'm going to try with our new co-chair, new co-chairs. So if you have your agenda, if you could please note, in my opinion, if you please just agendize these for your next meeting and just take a look at them and see if they are something that you might decide to take on. The first one is the 16, the first one listed, 160415, establishment of bicycle traffic school program. There was pending a report back from LADOT and LAPD, and as far as I know, that's still they're still waiting.
Glenn, this says it expired 11/16/2019. That it's like long dead.
Okay, all right, cross that off then. I'll remove that. All right, that's what happens when they.
Well, right. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, it passed city council, and then DOT and LAPD both ignored what city council voted on. Anyway, okay, scratch that off. All right, the next one that I think would be appropriate would be 20-0723, city bike pass automatic non-button crosswalk signal conversion. And then the one right after that, 21-1115, bicycle chop shops, stolen bicycle disassembly, public right-of-way prohibition from, and this one's report from, they're waiting a report from, let's see, there was a report from city council committees, so that may have actually gone to city council, but I think I checked that and I think it was still pending. So, and then the last one is the, no, that's it. That's it. And then the last two council files here, we took action, I think, at our last meeting regarding those. And just note that as of when I did this agenda last week, there was on the 21-12-22 LO Department of Transportation a report back, and I didn't see that they had reported back yet. And then on 21-12-23, regarding the speed limit reduction, they were asked for DOT and for the city attorney to report back, and I hadn't seen a report back on those. So unless someone has some additional information, Kent.
That for the next item.
The next time, okay. Well, I finished with the council files, so unless someone's aware of any new council files, that's all I found, with bicycle related. But anyone, if you notice anything, let me know, because I don't see all the thousands of files necessarily, or may not catch every single one of them. So the next one is the BAC member and officer report. Is that what you have your hand up, Kent, for?
Yep, I wasn't sure where to plug this in, but maybe this would be a good place. A proposal to shift our start time from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock, since we no longer have to bike or drive or travel one way or the other to our meetings after work. We're doing these virtually. It seems like maybe we could start an hour earlier and thereby finish an hour earlier. Just for your consideration, I'd like to take a straw poll, see if anybody's interested in that.
All right. I guess use your thumbs up virtually or using the Zoom app if you think that's a good idea.
I'd like to do 6:30. I have dinner with my family every night at 6. So that's just me personally.
Okay, Aubrey's a thumbs down. Okay, how about 6:30?
I'm good with that, just earlier.
Okay, does anyone object to 6:30?
I don't know how to put my thumb down. Sorry.
Oh, it'll go away.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Ken, thanks for mentioning it.
Eli was asleep.
Uh,
You fell asleep.
I think legally, in order for us to change our meetings, we have to have it agendized and vote to do so. So, but I could call a special, legally, I could call a special meeting for the next one at 6:30 and agendize it, and we can approve it. I think that'd be the way to get around that. But yeah, Ken, if you had told me in advance, I could have agendized it and we could have had a vote tonight. So, but anyway, thanks for your feedback, and we'll put that on the next agenda, and it might get implemented starting our next meeting. The city attorney is supposed to be in touch with me, and so I might run that by them, but that's my plan of how to do it. You know, get around the regular meeting time of 7. Okay, so let's see. So BAC member and officer reports. I did have one thing this time I wanted to comment on. Since I have it right in front of me, I thought I'd go ahead and get started. And that is, I've mentioned in the past about the pedestrian advisory committee. And because they're virtual and schedule wise, it seems to have been working out that I've been able to attend the last couple meetings, and they always do a round robin of introductions. So, you know, I've been able to put out there about the, you know, just for Bicycle Advisory Committee, they don't have anything on the agenda. They've been focused on sidewalks and curb ramps, but you know, there were 2 very similar advisory committees, both in terms of structure and in terms of subject matter. What's interesting is that because they meet date in the mornings, just so if anyone's interested, they meet on the 3rd Thursday of the month at 9:30 a.m. on odd number months. So January, March, May, etc. So if you're interested in taking in their meeting, you know, via Zoom. They have DOT staff attending their meetings because, I guess, because they're meeting during the daytime. That's not our argument to meet during the daytime. I'm just pointing out that they have staff, you know, in at their meetings, their full meetings. Okay, I think that's the only thing I wanted to share, other than the very end. Any other officer reports or BAC member updates regarding council district meetings and projects that we haven't already discussed that you want to mention? Aubrey?
I rode West Adams today from Crenshaw to La Cienega, and it's very, very nice, I think. And I'd like to see more streets like that in LA. However, I don't know what's going to happen when all those buildings get occupied with the 1 lane on West Adams, but we'll wait and see.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Glenn?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry to see Ron Meyer go. Is there any news about that, or anything that anyone can share?
Well, his email just basically said, in terms of his others activities, effectiveness. I don't know if he used the word effectiveness, but that's how I interpreted it. You know, that he decided to do other things. I did email him back, but I did not get a reply back yet,
Okay.
although I might. So, but yeah, that's the nature of the comments.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
He's been really responsive when I've asked him for stuff, so he's engaging.
Okay, great. Okay, any other reports? Okay, under the report, so I said I was going to come back to the Streets LA report, and I am going to come back, but you're going to get this email to you because it's 16 pages. But I just want to introduce it since it's on our agenda, and I just wanted to quickly show. We're not gonna comment or anything on it, but let me get to that.
What item was it in the agenda?
It was item 8, item 8.
Thank you. Oh, right. Mhm.
Since this is their first report, I just wanted to show you what you can expect every 2 months. Now I can't see my screen. Share screen. Is that showing up for you? Okay. You seeing that?
Yep.
Okay. So the first page is the cover page. They're showing the number of segments on this graph here. Sorry, I'm trying to get down to the next one. Square footage. Looks like it's an upward. A report of completed segments. So you can see they've got the same street in different segments, sort of like block by block by block. So that's for December, keeps going. So I guess I should let you see the street names. So Abbot Kinney, Avenue 43, Aviation, Abbot Kinney.
A lot of CD11.
Okay, that takes the whole page. So, oh, this is their criteria that they talked about at our meetings. So you're going to get all this. So I just wanted to share this. So here's some photos of a few segments. Astoria Street, which is, I think that's CD7, so it's not 11. So before and after. Aviation, so what that's Imperial to 11. That's probably, is that CD11 still?
It could be.
You remove the bike lane?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, well, they are doing that because of the lawsuits they had.
Again? Wait a minute. Maybe that is the bike lane. It just looks like a car lane.
Yeah, no, it is. They are doing this in certain places because they got sued. So they are replacing in some places just the bike lane. Here's another aviation shot. Avenue 43. There's your Sharrows, it looks like. Oh no. I wonder if they got that mixed up. I think they might have got those mixed up. Before and after should be vice versa, probably. Okay, and then the last part here, oh, there's another before and after. Avenue 43. Okay, then here's upcoming schedule, so you'll get all of this. But there's really only 2 streets listed, basically Eagle Rock and Forest Avenue.
And how will we get it?
I'm going to email it to you. And then going forward, I'm not sure if they're going to do this every 2 months or if they're doing it monthly. I'm not sure. Okay, so that was number 8. So sorry, I'm moving to item 21, upcoming meetings, events, and rides, etc. So there is one item that was on the agenda where under Kent's report about the community meeting for the Stress-Free Network on February 12th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at LA City College. So if you're available, you might want to check out that meeting. It's an in-person, but they're going to meet outdoors. I asked where outdoor, I mean, they said they'd have signage and everything. They couldn't tell me where on campus outdoors. So you might want to check their website or something.
What day is it, Glenn?
I can tell you where it is. They had told me that it's going to be the same place as it was when it was in January, I think January 8th. And they said it's right by the metro stop on the campus. So in other words, the Vermont, Santa Monica, and it's not right on the street, but you can see it. They told me you would be able to see it from the street. And they provided an address too. I think it's 855 North Vermont.
Okay, so you'd basically from that From that stop, you'd look south and you'd see it.
I'm assuming you look into the campus and it's not right on Vermont, Street, just a little beyond Vermont, to the west of Vermont Street.
And to the south of the station. Okay.
If it's to the west, it would be to the west of the station.
Okay.
So in other words, the station that's not on Santa Monica and Vermont is the one that's on the campus, like a few hundred feet south of the intersection of Santa Monica and Vermont.
Glenn, could you repeat the time?
It's on the agenda.
Okay. I didn't see
Hold
it.
on. Let me get to the agenda. Just a second.
11 to 1, same as the one in Vermont Square.
February 12th, 11 to 1.
Oh, that you're talking about. Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay, and then Ciclavia, it's not on, unless someone has some inside information, there's nothing on their website, and I haven't gotten emails announcing their next Ciclavia. So otherwise, I do try to put it on the agenda, but Eli has inside information.
Yeah, so I know that they're waiting to hear back from the city, but they have all their routes. They're just waiting because, yeah, so that's the update. I just talked to Misha 2 days ago, and they didn't have approvals. So it's in process. It's late this year, though. You're right.
What part of the city?
They can't disclose. They wouldn't disclose it to me because I asked, hey, where's it going to be happening? They just they don't. Rommel doesn't want to get into that, and
yeah,
without knowing for sure.
Well, usually we, whenever it's happening, we usually know by the time of our meetings. But so I understand they've got stuff to work out. So anyway, just if you're not getting the e-blast from Ciclavia, go to the website, sign up to get the news when they're announced. Mike, do you have a question about this item?
It's kind of something, but not. Is the Acura bike tour ever coming back, or is that just dead on arrival? Because that was such a fun event. I love that event.
Are you talking about before the marathon?
Correct. Right
Yeah,
now, it's a pirate ride.
Yeah, the bike, the marathon crash ride. Yeah, because the route changed and it just it doesn't have that looping sort of structure anymore. It's just a one-way thing. They couldn't make that work, right? Because what do? You get it, you're stuck. Yeah.
Okay, Philip.
Yes. So Eli put a couple of links in the chat for the ride with the councilman and our council person and the Operation Firefly. And so if I mentioned this to CD13 and they're interested in doing it, who would they contact to be able to implement that?
Yeah, so let's you and I talk and strategize. We can talk to Christine or maybe Matthew over there. So let's figure out who the right person is to talk to. But O'Farrell has been supportive. Councilmember O'Farrell has been supportive in the past. Actually really supportive in the past. So we'd love to talk to him. And he's got that Walk of Hollywood or Hollywood project, that Streets project. So maybe there's a connection there where we could actually host it there. So I'm the right person. I'll put my email in the chat right now for you.
Okay, yeah, because I can, forward them the links that you gave me, but it just tells how it's been done in the past. It doesn't say how it would be done in the future.
Let's talk. Yeah, I definitely want to connect with you because we also have another project that we've been working on called Sunset for All, which I really want to get you up to speed on. That we're supporting. It's not our project. It's a totally community-led project. We're just trying to be, we're their fiscal sponsor. So I'll put that link in as well.
Okay.
Okay, and I noticed that John Lowry has left and Mike Kaiser's left, so we no longer have a quorum. But I do want to acknowledge under adjournment that we have this in memory of, and there were 2 bicyclists killed at the same time in Chatsworth earlier in January 4th. And I did want to, even though we can't I'm not going to vote on it since we don't have a quorum, but I just wanted to they were the first bicycle deaths in the city of LA. Matthew Zink, age 58, and woman friend of his, Anna Hernandez, age 37, who was pregnant, were both killed by a hit and run driver who was later arrested for DUI and arrested for murder. So, and that happened in Chatsworth. So I just wanted to note that and adjourn this meeting in their memory. And our next meeting will be on Tuesday, April 5th. And for all the subcommittees, just be sure you get me any motions or recommendations or topics you want on the agenda at least a week if possible before our meeting. And so yeah, with that, then we're going to be adjourned.
And grab the chat if you want it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you all very much for attending.
Good meeting.
And we'll see you next time, if not before. Our subcommittees will be meeting during the month of March, so that'll be another opportunity to engage.
Thanks, Glenn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Glenn,
Yes.
can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah. Hold on just a minute.